What's up, everyone? This is Mayan Gordon. We are live at 5, streaming to LinkedIn, to YouTube, and to Facebook. You guys know what to do. Post in the comments what is one thing that you're grateful for today, and where in the world are you watching from? Today, I really wanted to take this time and talk to you about something that I've, noticed over the past really 5 years specifically, been paying a lot more attention to, and that is energy. The reason I am bringing this up is it has had such a profound impact on my life, and I believe it's having a really profound impact on yours. And so I'm hoping to bring you guys some value today in terms of just observations I've noticed and things that I hypothesize about energy. Energy that human beings produce is one of those very interesting things that we all know is real, but we've not created any instruments to measure it yet. When you walk in a room, you can feel if people are happy. You can feel if someone's sad. When you hop on a Zoom call with someone, you can feel if they're salesy. You can feel if they're trying to scam you. You can feel if they're authentic and they care about you. And this energy is something so powerful, not only to connect with other people, but definitely internally. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about my energy and my experience with energy. I feel like I have some pretty great energy these days. But 5 years ago, I didn't feel that way at all. In fact, the way I felt about it was I could portray what I thought was good energy, but internally, I wasn't happy with myself. Internally, my energy was mostly fear and scared. I was scared people wouldn't like me. I was scared my life wasn't going to be the way that I wanted it to be. I was scared I wasn't good enough. And I believe that fear has its own energy that it generates outward, that people, maybe they can't sense it as fear, but they sense it as a bad energy. And when you're scared of people, especially, and when you're scared of yourself, that is something really, really detrimental to you making any amount of progress in your life. So even though in the past, I may have been doing very well with my business, I was not super happy and I was not able to form deep relationships and deep friendships the way that I am now. Because how can you really provide value and connect with another human being when you're scared? When you're scared, you're in a, save mode. You're not in a give mode. Even when you tell yourself that you're a giving person, you guys, I always have told myself that I'm a giving, kind person. That's what I've always thought of myself. But the truth of it is, when I was scared, I just simply could not be the true person that I wanted to be. I could not give as much as I wanted to because my brain would not simply allow it. When your brain is in a state of fear, it will do things without your permission. And some of those things are going to be tone of voice. Some of those things are going to be level of enthusiasm. Some of those things are going to be willingness to go out and talk to people that you don't know. And so I saw a profound shift when I really, it didn't start when I started going to trade shows, but definitely happened a lot through repetition of going to trade shows and just trying to do better and trying to not tie my happiness to the sales that I was going to get at a trade show. Because it's a very dangerous thing when you have no idea how a trade show is going to go to say, if I don't make enough sales, I'm going to hate myself or not going to be happy. A trade show is a beautiful and fun place to be. And so I started realizing and making the mental shift, I'm going to tie my happiness at a trade show to how much I'm able to give in energy to other people. And the reason that I was really able to mentally do that process is because trade shows are exhausting. You are on your feet as a vendor, as a buyer for 12 plus hours in a day. And you have to sustain your level of energy or people will not connect with you. People will not buy your stuff. Also, you will be very unhappy at the end of the day if you're thinking, oh my God, I'm so tired. I don't want to be here anymore. You have to, in your head, constantly tell yourself, this is awesome. I'm so stoked to be here. Let me see who I'm going to meet next. And especially as it got into my 5th, 6th year of doing trade shows, I added another level of excitement in, oh, I'm excited to see people that I saw the previous 5 years who are now somewhat my friends, who I talk to through Instagram, maybe not all the time, but every now and occasionally. And I get to see them in person and ask them how their life's going and catch up with them and feel their positive energy. And what that turned into was, oh, wow, I have this ability to change the energy of any person who comes up to my table. Wow, with one piece of eye contact, a smile, and a how are you doing today, in a real positive, energetic way, I could have them visibly within 10 seconds going and feeling from exhausted, unhappy, tired to, oh, what's going on right now? Pretty excited. Who is this person? What do they have at their table? And that immediate shift in energy that I was able to initiate and create, wow, was that addictive. And just being able to then internalize externally what I was doing to other people with myself. That has been a huge process, a huge benefit to me. And I encourage you guys, if you struggle with negative energy in any aspect, it's much harder these days. There's no groups of people you can go hang out with, right? But I encourage you to maybe be a part of whatever types of groups and communities that you can, whether that's digitally, whether that's still going to your church, or small groups where everyone's wearing a mask and still trying to be really safe. And putting out as much positive energy as you can, simply with the purpose of seeing what happens, like seeing if what I'm saying is true for you, because I can almost guarantee that it's true for everyone. The positive energy you're willing to create within yourself will have an incredible and profound impact on your life. Now I'm going to give some shout outs. What is up to everyone watching today? Craig, who's coming in from Spain and grateful for his healthy family. Love to hear that. Will, how's it going in South Australia? Cold this morning. I'm a little jealous. It is hot, hot, hot over here in Spokane. It's getting up to 97 today. Tomorrow, let's see, is that tomorrow? No, sorry. On Thursday and Friday, it's going to be 102 degrees. It might even be hotter than that. That's just what they're saying right now. So we're in a little bit of a heat wave. I know some of you guys in other parts of the states are experiencing even hotter temperatures. So I hope you guys are definitely staying cool. What is up, Michael? I hope you're having an amazing day. Zewo, what's good? I think this is your first time popping in with a comment on my live. I really appreciate that. Paul, who's grateful for obstacles. Absolutely. Obstacles not only force us to become better, but they make life so interesting. You guys, how boring would life be if it was all easy? Have you guys ever played a video game and it got easy and then you immediately got bored and lost interest in the video game? I know I did. In fact, that's every video game that I've played. It's either gotten too easy and boring or too hard and I literally can't get past a certain part. Same thing, lose interest. That variation in difficulty makes life very, very interesting and worthwhile. Michael, appreciate you tuning in. Your brain wants to protect you when you're scared. Absolutely, you guys. Your brain is something that's developed, through evolution for millions of years. That fight or flight response, your responses to fear are primal and you cannot change them. What you can change is how much fear you're letting into your life and your ability to block out fear or combat it with other reasons and reasonable logic. Your brain, as much as it's evolved to be, something that is, looking to survive, your brain is also the most logical thing that's ever existed. And so when you give it reasons, it cannot ignore those logical reasons. So that's a lot of how I've been able to change my mindset, has not been through willing it or thinking the same thing over and over again. It's been by finding logical reasons to tell my brain this must be true because X, Y, and Z. And that's part of what those trade shows did for me, you guys. For years and years before I got to that point in trade shows, I'd been telling myself to be more brave, that people are not going to hurt me. People are not out to get me. That they're, what I'd been told as a child, that people are bad, especially on the internet, because I came from a family and an age where parents were terrified of their children getting raped and molested and kidnapped from a stranger online. It used to happen way more often than it happens now. And I grew up hearing that over and over and over again. Strangers will kidnap you. Strangers want to hurt you. And boy, was that hard to get away from. The only way I could get away from it was the logical proof I gave myself at the trade shows to see, like, wow, none of these strangers wanted to hurt me. All any of them ever did was want to connect with me. And yes, some of them were still grumpy or had a bad time. But that certainly wasn't anything to do with me. That was certainly to do with something observable I could see happening with them. I think trade shows are just such a wonderful place to be able to observe human behavior. What's up, Thomas from Kansas City, Missouri? Awesome. Where, KCMO, it's where my Tech 9 rapper comes from. Definitely one of my favorites if you're into music. Dillip, what's good? And Thomas, appreciate you being here for my advice. So I think most of us in the world struggle mentally. I think the fact that all of us online are saying we're 100% happy is a straight up lie. You guys, I am not 100% happy all the time. In fact, when I wake up in the mornings, often I feel kind of not depressed, but gloomy. Gloomy is definitely the word to describe it. And I have just developed over a long period of time things that I reasonably know that I can do to feel better. And also reasons as to why I feel gloomy. And giving myself reasons, logical reasons, is how I overcome almost everything in my life. I don't think there's any other way to do it. You cannot just want things to be better. Wanting is one of the worst things you can possibly do because it's just not going to happen. It's going to internally start to crush you more and more and more. And I was just talking with someone earlier today who I had a really cool connection with off of an intro call. And I think that the longer you ignore the things you feel that are negative inside and try to distract yourself from them, the worse and worse it gets. Because if you don't reason a feeling away outside of yourself, it will develop, it will continue to grow, it will grab deeper and stronger and wider holds of your heart and your soul and your being. And so I really feel that people have to completely confront their negative feelings. If you don't like how you look, you have to say it out loud and figure out a way to deal with that. Figure out a reason how to love yourself more. And I think these are really powerful concepts that most people either don't want to face because they say, I feel good enough, I'm happy enough, or because they simply cannot pull themselves to face that unhurt, that hurt and that discomfort that they're feeling. And I really encourage anyone who's listening to this, if you feel any amount of hurt inside, whether you think that's subtle or whether you think it's deep, I can promise you if it's subtle now, it'll get deep if you don't deal with it. And there's been a lot of times in my life where I've tried to ignore my negative feelings, where I've tried to come up with other ways to get around them, where I've tried to pretend I was happy and let that pretend feeling become a real feeling. And it does not. You can't pretend to be happy. You can just actually be happy, or you can not be happy. But pretending really doesn't help you in any particular way. So if you're struggling mentally, I think number one, you got to face those feelings. You got to say them out loud, and you got to start finding logical reasons to not feel that way. So if you feel stupid, that's a good one. A lot of people, not one I've ever struggled with, but my husband Ben has struggled with that, certainly. Feeling stupid and like you're not smart enough, not good enough. Well, say that out loud and figure out ways to make yourself feel smarter, whether that's taking an action of reading more, of connecting with other people who you consider smart and learning from them, or whether it's even defining what does smart mean to you and then trying to achieve that, or even changing that definition and going, you know what, I feel stupid because this is what I think smart is, but I know that there's other opinions about what smart means. And maybe I need to expose myself to new ideas with their reasons about why someone is smart, why someone could be smart, what smart even means. And maybe if I listen to enough of their reasons that I don't have yet and haven't been exposed to, I can change my mindset. So I think that's another really great way, is whatever you're struggling with, find someone who is not struggling with that and start to listen to the podcast, to the content that they're putting out, and see if they're giving logical reasons as to their ethos and to the ways that they believe things and why they believe things. Because you've never had someone else's reasoning before, but what if you did? What if all of a sudden the thoughts someone else had that were logical and reasonable were thoughts that you were having? That can be incredibly profound and impactful. And for me, some of those times have been, let's say, when I've listened to someone who's a PhD, who's done their whole life studying something, and they tell me new information I've never heard before about how the brain works. They've studied it. They have scientific proof that I never knew existed. I didn't know the brain worked that way. Amazing. An example of that is a lot of you guys may or may not have heard of fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Those are not just theological terms. There is a lot of science that goes into a fixed mindset or growth mindset. And there are a lot of studies that have gone into fixed mindset and growth mindset. When people do not believe that they can get better at something, they do not. When people do believe that they can grow and mature and get better at things that they are not good at, they do. And so these beliefs that we have are incredibly powerful as to what we think our brain is capable of doing. When you start to believe the truth about what your brain and your capacity truly is for growth and thought, it's like an unlock. It's like you're unlocking the key inside your brain to this door that you had shut. You control much of what goes on in your brain. And that's true of the functionality of it. You can shut down parts of your brain with thoughts. By saying, I cannot, you close off a part of your brain that could. And so educating yourself in areas of science that are completely logical, that you can believe in, where there's proof and studies around it, can, I think, be a really powerful thing as well. Let's see. Michael says the reticular activating system. Love it. Yes, there is a lot of science. There's a lot of science terms. Again, there's a lot of study. There's thousands and thousands of studies around these different types of things, because people in the last 100 years have become more and more fascinated with how does our brain work. We've also had a lot more tools in science and in medicine developed for us to measure brain activity, to see what physically is happening in the brain as we're thinking, as we're feeling things. And I think it's amazing what science and technology has allowed us to uncover and discover within ourselves. Chris says fixed mindset versus growth mindset. So true. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are correct. So I think that's a very, I hate sayings that are so generic like that, because they don't give the proof of it. And so whether or not you've heard of fixed mindset or growth mindset, I do encourage you to go find the science behind it, because it will have a powerful impact. Again, your brain is a logical thing. You saying I can do something but not giving your brain proof has a very limited capacity and ability to change how you think and what you're doing. When you go give your brain the logical reasons and the proof, it cannot deny believing in it. There becomes no more doubt. And doubt is one of those things that shuts doors in your mind. You can think you believe in something, but if doubt creeps in, the truth of it is your brain isn't listening. Your brain isn't hearing you. It has that but voice is your brain fighting whatever you intentionally as a human being are trying to do. So make sure you back up whatever it is you're trying to achieve with some logical facts, some logical reasons that your brain cannot deny and has to believe in. All right, guys, that's all I really wanted to share with you today. If you think that someone else might benefit from this message, from this information, it would mean a lot to me if you shared it. I think a lot of my success has come from listening to other people, changing my mindset, changing my understanding of what's possible. So if you think that this could be that for someone else, please do share it, tag them in the comments. I hope you guys have an amazing night, and we will see you again tomorrow.